Hello and welcome to the Charity Champions webinar series from Charity Checkout. A quick overview of who we are and what we do. Charity Checkout, we're on a mission to transform digital fundraising by putting charities first, and we were honoured to win the National Fundraising Award, Most Committed Company to the Sector in last year's awards in 2019. We are a digital donation, fundraising and event registration technology platform, and we put all of your causes brand front and center to provide a consistent experience for you and for your supporters. We've helped over 4,000 charities raise over £60 million, and some of those amazing charities continue to use us today for their event registration, for their fundraising, and for their direct donations on their website. And today we're joined by Owa Hackett from Little Lifts, and we're really grateful that Owa has come to join us on this virtual event fireside chat to talk about Little Lifts as an organization, talk about their virtual event, and to talk about what's next for their charity. Owa, do you want to take us away? Tell us a little bit more about Little Lifts, about what you guys do, and then we'll get into talking about your fantastic virtual event.
Sure, so I'm Owa, the founder of Little Lifts. We are a breast cancer charity that supports women who are going through chemotherapy treatment across all NHS hospitals in Norfolk and Suffolk. And we support these women by working directly with oncology and breast care teams so that women who are going through chemotherapy treatment for primary or secondary breast cancer can receive one of our Little Lifts boxes. And our Little Lifts boxes are full of loads of useful items to provide practical support, but they also provide mood boosting goodies to promote emotional well-being. And we launched our first NHS partnership at the end of 2017. Fast forward 18 months from there, and we were then working with all NHS hospitals in Norfolk and Suffolk, which is 5 NHS partnerships, and we've supported close to 1,000 women now with a Little Lifts box, and we're on a mission to support many more in the years to come.
Amazing. That's quite a journey already, and I think I recall seeing a video of you in a helicopter at some point, which I was amazed by on YouTube.
Yes, that was an experience. So Saxon Air are a local luxury travel provider, and they also support us in other ways through packing parties and corporate events. But they asked us if we wanted to deliver some Little Lifts boxes in style. So we got to deliver some boxes via helicopter, which usually we never do, obviously, because we just send them in our Little Lifts van. So yeah, that was an amazing experience. And they even gave us a little tour of Norwich on the way there. So yeah, it was lovely.
Excellent. Well, there we go. Shout out to them for that. That's fantastic. So I wanted to talk to you today about your virtual event that you've launched through Charity Checkout, and actually almost take it back a step to how you responded to COVID-19 and how your organization pivoted during that time in terms of both, I guess, your frontline services, but also your fundraising, more importantly. So how did you respond as an organization to COVID-19?
So at Little Lifts, there's only 2 of us. There's myself and my lovely colleague Kay. And gosh, yeah, when the coronavirus outbreak hit, it was a big deal. And breast cancer doesn't stop during COVID-19. So the first thing we did was liaise with our NHS partnerships to get an idea of what they were planning on doing with chemotherapy treatment. And we concluded that we needed to get Little Lifts boxes out to them and get them stocked up so that they had enough for about 8 to 10 weeks. So that was the first thing that we did. We really wanted to make sure that the women who we support didn't miss out on that support during what is already a really tough time going through breast cancer treatment, let alone having to navigate through coronavirus, because chemotherapy treatment is so complex and it has such a big impact on women's immunities, and so we really wanted to make sure that we could give them some boost during this time. And then, of course, we had to look at our ways of working, and like everybody, we had to leave our lovely office and packing room and set up camp at home. So Kay and I are both working from home. And like many charities, well, all charities, we had to review our fundraising, and we had a lot of events planned for March, April, May, June, and all of those had to be postponed or cancelled. So that's obviously a big financial hit to us as a small organisation, but we really tried to look at other ways that we could fundraise and use our amazing community to help us.
And how did that, like, when you're in that situation, I guess often I find that just like stressful situations or a really kind of big obstacle creates a lot of creativity. You find yourself being more creativity in a time of great kind of need. Where did that virtual event idea come from, and can you talk us through that event and how it works?
Sure. So we went into lockdown, didn't we, in March? We had some lovely people training really hard, who were planning on running the London Marathon for us in April.
Yeah.
So using that as a theme, we thought, why don't we host a virtual event and see if we can get people to take on the London Marathon throughout the month of April, which is 26.2 miles. You don't need to do it all in one go. You've got the whole of April to do it. It's about 2,000 steps a day. And we really considered that people could do it at home. They could do it going up and down the stairs, going around their garden. They could go out adhering to social distance guidelines. At that time, it was only once a day you could go out. So we really used the London Marathon as our inspiration for that idea, because it married really well, because it was the month of April.
Yeah, nice. And that's a really good, I guess that's almost a kind of top tip, is how can you anchor your virtual event to something that your supporters are already familiar with and they understand the kind of concept of. So when you came up with this idea, how did you get the word out to your supporters? How did you kind of market it, if you were?
So we had a really short turnaround to obviously launch the event and promote it to our supporters. Yeah. We are a really, really small organisation. We don't have a huge database of individuals on our mailing lists. So what we did is we went out to social media, and we've got a fantastic ambassador who supports us, who is very vocal on social media. Yeah. And she really pushed this virtual marathon for us. And we were just overwhelmed by the number of people who signed up within the first week or so. I think we had 362 people signed up to that event. And that was through using the community online, and also using the virtual marathon to emphasize everyone's everyday needs. So we know that during a lockdown, physical activity is really good for mental and physical health. And so we didn't want it to just be mutually beneficial to Little Lifts receiving some funding. We also wanted it to be beneficial to those who were taking part and giving them a real sense of community, that they were helping us at the same time, as well as doing something great for their physical and mental health.
Yeah, amazing. I think that's another top tip, I guess, is how you can still guarantee that value exchange in a virtual event than you would in a physical event. You know, when it's the London Marathon, the value exchange is fairly obvious. People get the opportunity to run the London Marathon. Creating that in a virtual world has its own challenges and opportunities. I think it's generally accepted it's a bit more cost effective to run a virtual event than it is to find places in the kind of biggest third-party events. How do you feel? If you had any feedback from your supporters, especially the kind of the new ones through the door, how have they felt about their first contact with you as an organisation, and also the virtual event?
So we, at the end of the April marathon, we sent a congratulatory email. We're really lucky at Little Lifts because we work with some brilliant suppliers. So we were able to send discount codes where participants could go and treat themselves to something lovely. Those who fundraised for us got handwritten thank you cards and a little treat from another supporter of ours. And the feedback we had was brilliant. We had great response and activity on our social media, in particular Instagram. That channel has grown as a result of the April virtual marathon, so that's been brilliant. And actually lots of people said, are you going to be doing it again? And so then that led us to do another marathon in May where we had 100 people sign up, of which many had already done the April marathon. So I think for people to say that they've done a marathon in lockdown is quite an achievement, amongst everything else that people are dealing with.
Yeah.
So I think that it gave people a real sense of achievement. And for us, we were really honest and transparent about where their incredible fundraising was going. So whilst we had already got our hospital partners stocked up with Little Lifts boxes, at the start of May, we had to start making more deliveries again. And so we were sharing that with them so that they could really see where their incredible fundraising efforts were going.
Amazing. And I think that's another top tip there is linking the virtual event to a tangible outcome. So making sure that people know what they are achieving through their efforts isn't just kind of swirling around in the ether somewhere. It's being put into a real concrete result. How have you found generally with especially with the April marathon with you mentioned over 300 signups? Have you thought about like how you've supported your fundraisers? How have you seen their kind of fundraising performance, and what things have you put in place to support them while they're taking part in the event?
So we decided at the very start of the April marathon that we weren't going to assign a fundraising target. Mm-hmm. We only had a sign up fee, so it was £10 to sign up. If you were under 16, it was £5. And actually that then led to people creating their own fundraising pages. So that April marathon raised us 5,000. Mm. We thought our target was 1,000. So I think it definitely helped us having small sums adding up.
Yeah.
So that really worked for us. In terms of supporting the fundraisers, that was part of your question, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We continued to have regular contact with them through the month of April. Mm-hmm. We ran competitions throughout the month. So, for example, we did Fancy Dress Friday, where the best fancy dress outfit was a prize. We did Wellbeing Wednesday. So, what would their top wellbeing tip be? So, we tried to engage our fundraisers that way and involve them in fun and creative ideas. And then those that did fundraise for us, we find it really important to say thank you at Little Lifts, and that thank you is always a handwritten thank you from us. Now that might sound like it's unachievable to constantly write lots of thank you cards, but it is actually something that we do and we know makes a difference. And lots of people were then sharing their thank you cards on Instagram, on Facebook, which then just keeps the hype of that event going. So I think that's really important as well.
Nice. That's another good top tip, I think, is that authenticity. So it's not, they're already going through this very challenging time. Everyone is, and they decide to take part in an event and they get this really authentic relationship with you. That means they're more likely to sign up again the next month, or it means further down the line when physical events start becoming a thing that people do, they're already very warm to your cause, they're engaged, and they have that almost loyalty built in, which I think is a great way to grow that. You mentioned doing the marathon again in May, but what is next? Are you doing anything in June, and what does July look like?
Yes, so we actually are running another virtual marathon in June. So at the end of April, we had done enough steps collectively as a community to have walked from the UK to New Zealand.
Wow.
So we thought, right, how many more steps can we get done in May? And those final step totals are currently being worked out. So we're hoping by the end of June, as a community, we will have done enough steps to have gotten around the world, which is 25,000 miles. So that is our plan for June, is to get around the world. In terms of other virtual events, we are planning those and thinking about those. We really want to do something around mindfulness and well-being, so I think that's really important at the moment. We also know that right now kindness is really important and it really matters, and our Little Lifts boxes are boxes full of kindness. So we're looking at how we can do some sort of kindness challenge around our Little Lifts boxes. Yeah. And then we're also looking at other events that we can do that are a bit more easy and accessible, such as quizzes and other interactive events in that way.
Amazing. Well, I think it goes to show, through adversity, you can turn that into creativity, and I think you've shown that that's really possible with the right imagination and the right technology, and I think that's such a powerful story of how some organizations and not just charities, some companies have had to kind of almost batten down the hatches and weather the storm, and actually you've come out of this with a very creative mindset and a very good already a great fundraising result from April, maybe even greater fundraising results by the end of the summer. Any other final tips to share, or would you like to also share your website and your social media handles so people can go check you out?
Other top tips, I would say it's just important to be transparent and honest with your supporters.
Yeah.
And think about what they can get out from any events, so that they can join in and support you. It needs to be mutually beneficial. And think of ways you can say thank you. I appreciate that handwriting cards might not always be optional, but there are definitely ways that we can thank our supporters, because really they are sticking by us during these tough times, and that sense of community is really, really important. Yeah. If anyone wants to find out more about Little Lifts, it's littlelifts.org.uk, and we're on Facebook and Instagram under Little Lifts UK.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ella.
Thank you.